Do you know what I like to do after watching a YouTube video? I like to look at some baseball cards. All right, I got a few new cards I want to show you and something else. But before I do that, I was watching Melissa Gogger's latest video, and it inspired me. It inspired me to tell this story. Melissa was talking about how she played baseball on the men's team growing up. And I had a cousin, a female cousin, who was a tomboy, and she played on her little league team. I go watch her. She played the outfield, and she was a real tomboy, strong, thick, athletic, and she came to visit me. And where I grew up in the country, we had a field for football. We had a basketball hoop on the street. We had a field down below for baseball. We had a field for everything. And so it was football season. And I was going up on the top hill to play football, and she wanted to play with me. So I put her on the other team. I scored 7 touchdowns for my team, and she scored 7 touchdowns for her team. And there was this one kid, Tony, and she would call him Tony Baloney, and she would stiff arm him and run over him, and he couldn't stop her. And at the end of the game, once he's had enough, he decided something stupid. He decided he was going to pick a fight with her. She got on top of him, and she beat him to a pulp. She beat the piss out of him. And he was bleeding. His lip was bleeding. And not only did he get stiff-armed and run over for 7 touchdowns, but he got his ass kicked too by a girl. So he was really humiliated. It was a really bad day for Tony Baloney. So my cousin played baseball in New Kensington, Pennsylvania, where I have some family. And one day, several years ago, I got this book, which got a little lint on there, which I highly recommend. This book is awesome. Old baseball, highlights cards and players. It's just a phenomenal book. It's one of my favorites. Just to give you an idea. Lots of pictures. And so I learned about this woman, Miss Myrtle Row. And she played for the New Kensington, Pennsylvania team with the boys. And I thought, that is so cool. Just like my cousin did many, many decades later. And so I set out to try to find any original piece with Miss Myrtle Row. And I actually found something. I found an old press photo. And there she is, right there. Miss Myrtle Row. And the New Kensington baseball team. I was so excited that I found anything with her on. So that's my story. Poor Tony Baloney. All right, I got an exceptional piece. I'd never seen this before, so I had to get it. And truth be told, I was watching this item for many months until it finally got to a price that I was happy with. I finally pulled the trigger on it. But, it's a player who, one of those old Hall of Famers and nobody cares about it anymore. And so it sat there for a long time. But I've never seen this card before, and it's just exceptional. And it's a 1927 exhibit of Harold Pie Trainer. Got that patch on his arm. Blank back. It says it's marked, but I don't see any marks. Unless they're just talking about this staining here. But such a cool card. I've never seen it before. Now, if you're around my age, you may remember getting sugar daddies that had little thin cards in them. I was just fascinated by those as a kid, and I loved that they had all kind of different sports. And I have a nice collection of them now. And there was one of the biggest cards remaining that I did not have. And so I finally got it. And that is the awesome Evel Knievel. Now, how many of you had the Evel Knievel doll growing up with the little motorcycle, and he had the van, the truck that you could carry the motorcycle in, and he could go from stunt to stunt, and he had the ramp and that little zip line, and you'd pull that zip line, and he would go flying, over that ramp, and he would jump the truck or whatever you wanted him to jump. The Evel Knievel doll, man, that thing was badass, and it would fly forever. So I finally got the Evel Knievel Sugar Daddy. Come on. How can you not like that card? I showed you, picked up a Maravich from this set, 1971 Top Stickers. Man, I had to get the Kareem and Connie Hawkins. This is a cool set. You know, kind of like the 1980 set with the Bird and Magic, Johnson rookies, and Dr. J. And of course, they didn't have licensing, so these guys in those early cards had their jerseys on backwards. Covered up. These are blank back. I got another Ed Giacomin for the 72 set. Rick and I, we did a show on the 1955 Bowman, and we were talking about the Harvey Kuenn, because there's two versions, one's an error. And I realized I didn't have a Harvey Kuenn. I was looking for it. And I thought I had all the stars and minor stars, but I did not have this one, so I picked one of each up. This here is the error version. I didn't get the regular version yet. I don't think either one is particularly rare or more rare than the other. But it is a corrected error, so there's two different versions. And what the error is on the back, his name is spelled Kuenn with two E's. You see? Two E's, and this is the correct spelling of his name. Kuenn, and it's a cool card. And a great set. You know, I always say it's a great set because it was the era of the television. When people could, you know, in the earlier days when they could start watching games. And I was on Drew Clean Cheap Shots channel. We interviewed Eddie Watt again. And somebody asked the question, and I had asked this on a former interview, and he said the same thing. He said, you know, he never got to watch many games, listened to some on the radio, and he had remembered getting, you know, his first television. And I think it was the late 40s, early 50s, he said. And that was a big deal to be able to watch any game, to get a television. And that's what makes this set special to me is I love that, you know, it's indicative of the era. It's indicative of the era. Just like I always say, 1972 has that psychedelic look, which is indicative of that era. And nowadays we have the shiny cards, which is indicative of shiny things like gold and pictures of bitcoins and money. I didn't have this for my set, so I picked it up. 1954 Bowman, Enos Slaughter. And maybe the sleeper of last year's draft for the Steelers is Will Howard. Now, he very well could be the next starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have been high on him in his play in training camp, and very well could be the next. So his cards are a couple bucks, literally, and so I've been buying some up just in case. You know, I'm a defensive prospector because I don't want to have to pay $1,000 later on. But he could have been the sleeper in that draft. Now, on my last video, I showed a bunch of my miscut 1975 cards. Said I think I want to put the set together all miscut. All miscut. I'd like to do that with the 73 set too. And since I have, you know, like all these sets and at least all the big players and minor players, I have near sets for all of these. It would be kind of fun to go back because I love them so much and give me something else to buy, you know, because that's what's fun about buying the O-Peachies. I get to buy the sets I love. So anyway, I went through, I have a box of miscut cards. I have a secondary collection of miscut cards. So I went through and I found another big stack. So in addition to all these, I have all these. So I am well on my way. I'm going to have to start targeting some stars. I have this angled cut, miscut Pete Rose here. Look at this beauty. Got the Giants team. Look at that beauty. All one of ones right here. Look at this Jim Long board. Awesome. I have a Dan Dreesen that has white up here. He must have been on the top of the sheet. Has a whole line of white. This is great. Don Hood. Manny Sanguian. That's one I would target out of the way. Manny Mota. Fergie Jenkins. Look at that beauty. Dusty Baker. Fabulous. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to put the whole set together. Miscut. Hey, that's what I have for you. If you haven't checked out Melissa Gogger's video, you should check it out. I'll put a link in the description here. So, as always, thanks for hanging out with me. I got to go.
It is done. If it is impossible, it will be done. This is Evel Knievel and the Evel Knievel shock-absorbing stunt cycle. You can make them do wheelies, backstands, even mid-air somersaults. And for that big jump, here's Evel, up and over that 4-foot ditch. Evel Knievel stunt cycle.